In this video, we're going to make an EDM song like Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike. What's up guys, my name is Wildcrow and Lander told me to make a tutorial for you to know how to make EDM music nowadays in 2024. One of the most famous producers in EDM music are Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike, so well, let's try to make a song like them. Now this kind of EDM, big room-ish music is a bit faster. It used to be 128, 130, now it's around 122, 35, 140. I'm gonna keep it in 135. And one of the most important things here is the kick. Okay, we're gonna start with this one. In the past, the music of Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike used to have these kind of kicks, really distorted ones. Nowadays, they don't use this anymore. What they do is get a tight kick like this and make it rumble, make it kind of techno-ish. That's why nowadays it's more called of Big Room Techno. To get this kind of sound, I'm gonna use the Madix Rumble plugin that, as you can see, it creates this rumble sound. Kind of rolling thing. I'm gonna stay with this one, but this is way too filtered. I'm gonna open a bit this filter to hear it better, especially in small speakers. I'm gonna take a reverb. I'm gonna use this one to get this sound on top, but of course it is way too much. Just to get extra touch. I need to get a bit fatter sound, so I'm gonna use the capitator. This is too much. And last but not least, I decided to saturate a bit more this part here to make it easier for small speakers. I think the attack is not strong enough, so I found this kick that has a bit stronger attack, but of course I only want the attack at the beginning. Let's process it a little bit. I'm going to add the Make It Wet preset. So we get the reverb. Let's low cut it so we don't interfere with the original punch, and boost a bit more here and here to get a bit extra attack. And finally distort a little bit with the waist shaper. Before and after. Way stronger attack. So well, our song is gonna be around this kick. It's gonna be the most important thing. Now we need to focus on what kind of synth and melodies Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike have. Nowadays they don't have a really complicated sound design, but the melodies they do work pretty well and are easy to remember. So let's try to get something like this. To be honest, they have something like this, like a basic saw, but they distort, saturated, and so. I'm gonna go a bit more advanced. Instead of a normal saw, I'm gonna change it, for example, for this one. And then to make it sound a bit fuller, I'm gonna use another oscillator, get more voices. And I'm gonna send this to this fine and to this one. Of course, not that much. Put it on 16th or no more. 64 is nice. Now let's distort it a little bit. Maybe if we do the pre. They try to get a bit nasal sound, but now let's process this. I'm gonna start with this saturator. I basically saturated the mid-highs and boosted here for this kind of nasal sound they have. Of course, OTT always helps. We need some reverb, some EQ to cut the lows, clean a little bit here. Now this is a really cool trick. I'm gonna use another OTT, and here what I'm gonna do is boost a bit more the upward compression. What this is gonna do is glue more the reverb, like push the reverb up, so it's way it glues more with the original sound, and the real sounds a bit fatter. And last but not least, some sidechain. Okay, but now we need the melody. I'm gonna use G minor, and I like to have it like this, the scale. I put it in different octaves, I put it in the different bars, and then on the synth, I can see the notes of the scale I can use. If you don't see them, click Alt-V and you will see them. And as I said, the melodies are quite basic, to be honest, easy to remember. Maybe something like, start like this. Dun, 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 dun. What I'm gonna do is go from the first to the fifth. Maybe this works. Here I want it faster. Yeah, I'm gonna repeat this. No. I'm gonna save this for the last bar. And here I'm gonna go more basic. Still kind of the same vibe, same melody. Maybe like this. Now we put this here, and I'm gonna change this last bar. I like it. Maybe I'm gonna make the notes a little bit longer, like this. And let's see how this works with the kick. Not bad so far, but this layer is a bit thin. I'm gonna add another layer to make it sound a bit fuller. Maybe I can go to my sound bank. Maybe hardstyle ones work. This one can work. Let's see if we apply the processing and we put it together with the main lead. Sounds fat. Okay, maybe this second part here, I can add some techno hi-hats. Maybe I can make it sound fatter. I'm gonna boost the mids and some way shaver to distort it. And I'm gonna mute this one here. Wait, I heard something that I think is a mistake, but a good mistake. Ooh, here it keeps the Madix Rambo. Probably this is a mistake or a glitch of the plugin, but I'm gonna record this. So this way I make sure I have it, you know? Because probably when I export this glitch is not gonna be there, but I want it fatter. I'm gonna take the Cosmere Essentials kick, I'm gonna increase the pressure and the compressor. Maybe a bit of tape. Another thing they do a lot is to add a lot of ear candy sounds, especially nowadays, a lot of kind of techno sounds, acid and so. I found this sound, but I'm gonna make it shorter and pitch it down. So now we have this. Maybe I can add it here. It can work. We put some reverb, cut the lows and boost a bit here where the character is, and some sidechain. Maybe here I can have a reverse like... Let me look on my soundbank and have some acid here. Some acid sounds. Maybe this one in reverse can be good. And look, this is a really cool trick. I'm gonna play the note. And now you click here, you drag it, and boom, you have the sound. Now just take this, reverse it, and control it as you want. We need another one here and here, but I'm not gonna copy the same ones, that would be boring. So after looking for some time, I found this preset they like and this reverse sound. Now we can take this and of course we can copy this here. And last but not least, I'm gonna add a downlifter and also some crowd noise. So basically we have the drop. Let's work now on the build up so this way we can introduce the drop better. First what I'm gonna do is put the leads here. Maybe I can delete this one so this way then when the drop hits it sounds a bit fuller because it has more layers. And maybe to don't make it that boring because we'll be repeating the melody all the time, I can just take this, take the first note here and make it go like really fast, like... Oh, we need to remove the sidechain to not make the build up that boring, and because in theory we're coming from a breakdown, I'm gonna add a wrist bass, for example, just this sound. Oh, and maybe we can also pitch this one up. We need some uplifters. Of course, we need the snares. I have this loop from one of my tracks, so I'm just gonna take the first one because what I want to do is make it this fast, but then here I'm gonna take it and make it double fast. Maybe here we can mute this part, also mute this, and we can add an impact like this. So it's where we introduce this faster part. But now really important, be careful. We have here the wrist bass, that it has bass, and we have the impact, that it has bass. Those basses are clashing. So on the wrist bass, I'm gonna take this low cut and I'm gonna automate it. And what I'm gonna do is this. What this is doing is we have the low cut and then slowly we remove it when the bass of the impact is disappearing. Then maybe this downlifter and some crashes. We need a fill. And if you want to make sure your drops sound really strong, pay attention to this. First, on the master, I'm going to use the Endless Smile. When you increase it, basically what this is going to do is apply some reverb, some low cuts. I'm also going to reduce the volume slowly as the build-up goes. And then as you can see, we bring it back up in the drop. And these two things, what they're going to do is make the build-up like a bit thinner. So this way, when the drop comes and it sounds way bigger, way fuller, closer to the listener because it doesn't have that much reverb, with louder volume, it's going to hit way stronger. Check this. Okay, wait, there are some extra things I need to do. The leads are way too loud, so first I'm gonna use a filter like this one, and I'm gonna add the high pass. And then also I'm gonna reduce a little bit the volume. This way, with all these things, the leads end up being like this. They go to the back, so then drop, they come closer. And I also felt like it has way too much high frequencies in the end of the build-up. So I'm going to have this high shelf going down. And the same thing, then when the drop comes, we're gonna have more high frequencies, so it's gonna feel like it's way stronger and with more energy. And well guys, this is how to make EDM music like Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike in 2024. I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope you learned something new. I'm Wildcrow and this is the end result.